Go for it.
I didn't even do the intro thing because Mark is weathering a crisis over there with the day job. So we're going to get through this. Have I verified I'm on the right microphone? I've done that. Yes.
It sounds good. Yeah.
It sounds good. Mark DeVol from YouCanBet.net. Sir, how the hell are you?
I'm very good, Tim. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I had Jorge Soler 35-1 to win MVP of the World Series. So
really,
I woke up a very happy man.
Nice. Oh,
I went to bed a very happy man because I did not go to bed till I heard the announcement. But
when we met up in Las Vegas, I was telling you how great it is as a sports fan to live on the West Coast, because you don't have to stay up to these ungodly hours to get results for all the games. Sure, you get, the East Coast games, but gosh, anything that starts, like we have plenty of games that start here, after 7:00 Pacific time.
Yeah.
And, if you want the results, you guys are up past midnight easily.
Look, I remember living in Sacramento, and we'd go watch the UFC. We'd go watch the UFC fight. The main event would be over, and then we'd go out, right? Like that's how early it ended. Whereas I actually stopped watching UFC because I moved to the East Coast. Because I'm not staying up till midnight to watch this.
That's right. Because don't they start at like 10, but then the main event, is like a couple hours later. Yeah,
I've had a main event go off as late as 12:30, 12:45, and I'm just like, I like it. I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. World Series is over. We can now finally focus on our sports teams. I don't know how much you care about the Chargers, but they look like they have potential.
I don't care about the Chargers. Dr. Mike has been, even though on one episode he actually said he was done with them, he has not let go of them. So he suffers through, this last week, they lost the Patriots. So he suffers through things like that. Yeah, they have potential. If I were still a fan, I'd kind of roll my eyes when you say that, because we've been hearing that, almost every year for 40 years. So
I think, to me, I think the difference is the coach is smarter, and I think the quarterback has a higher ceiling. So,
okay,
that's why I would consider this scenario to be different than the Anthony Lynn, Phillip Rivers, Chargers. So, okay. A little hodgepodge. Shout out to Shane Meals. A little hodgepodge of shows here, Mark. Next time we'll do luck episodes 3 and 4. But this week we'll be doing some little grab bag. Gonna start with Rick and Morty, season 5, episode 4. The episode is called Rick Dependent Spray. I'm not gonna get too much into the plot here, other than how it pertains to what I'm talking about, because it's kind of it's definitely has like not childish humor. It has like just gross humor involved.
It's one of the grossest episodes for sure, without really being gory.
Right. Right. I was overall pleased with the latest season, but this was definitely an episode that I didn't really care for.
Yeah.
But the reason I included it, the reason why we're touching on it first, is there was enough Vegas in it that I thought it was worth mentioning here. Even though we try to focus most on gambling, there was enough of it where I was like, I kind of feel like we should talk. So, first, these sperm monsters get created. If you haven't seen it, don't like, what are you talking about? Like, if you've seen it, great. If not, just roll with me here. These sperm monsters are created, and they go to Vegas. Like they're leading them to Vegas. Yeah, they're being led to. And what's funny is everybody's like, that tracks. Like there's like several jokes.
Well, of course, sperm monsters. Where else are they going to go? Yeah, that's kind of one of the jokes in the episode.
Exactly. Cirque du Soleil's Shows Humanity gets a drop with a reference that they put on a great erotic performance. So I like that the show's very aware of the reputation that show has.
Yeah.
In the background of many scenes, you see the Luxor beam go up, which I thought was kind of really nice detail, right? They easily could have left that out and it really wouldn't have mattered, but I like that they left that detail in. Of course, it's not geographically correct.
No, the episode is full of things that, well, okay, it looks like Vegas, but it's clearly not Vegas.
Right.
And then they'll throw in something like that really is. Or, they'll show the Mirage. It actually says the Mirage, in different things. So they kind of mixed it up.
So we see in front of Excalibur, there's these these horse people, which is very on theme for Excalibur, right? And then the monsters fly into a casino, and on the front of the casino, I don't know if you saw this, Mark, the two things advertise Russian roulette and loose slots were the two things that
I didn't notice that. Russian roulette and loose slots. That's perfect.
They're advertised on the front of this casino. When they're in the casino, the monsters are flying by some video poker machines. They go outside, they fly by the Mirage, like you said. The banner on the Mirage is advertising the Sultan of Swoon, the man, the myth, the musical. I don't know what that is.
I don't either. Yeah,
I don't know if that's a show I want to see.
Yeah.
But the musical advertised there, and then finally, the episode sort of ends with them at Luxor fighting these monsters. Cirque du Soleil performers and other Vegas stereotypes are helping fight them. And then the I'm not gonna even spoiler or no spoiler. I'm not touching on how the episode ends, but I watched the whole season thinking, I wonder if we're gonna get a gambling reference this year. And we didn't really get a true gambling reference, but enough Vegas there that I thought it was worth.
Oh yeah, I mean the last third is just all Vegas. So yep.
Also, new season, Ted Lasso season 2 came out recently. I'm still waiting for them to acknowledge sports bettors in the UK.
Yeah. No, they have not at all, have they? Not even a little bit. Yeah.
Not even a little bit. And they've done such a good job at poking fun of or acknowledging just about every other sort of UK England stereotype.
Yeah.
Or part of the piece of culture that America, but they haven't touched on. And being that this is a show about a sports team, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't touched on it. But the one gambling reference or one gambling scene that we get is in episode 9 of season 2. The episode's called Beard After Hours. Coach Beard goes on his own little venture for an episode, and he's joined by the 3 gentlemen that we constantly see at the bar, watching the game. They go out with him. They go to a really nice, I don't even know what you would call it. It's
a club. It's like a private club.
There we go. Yeah. Almost like a, what'd you call it? Like a, why can't I think it like a starts with a P? Maybe I don't know. I can't get the name of it, but parlor almost, right? Almost sounds like a little,
sure.
Yeah,
the private, you have to be a member. Yeah,
exactly. They sneak their way in, they get in there, and the guys are playing pool with some English folk, and they end up accepting a bet for 20 quid, which I always love it when the word quid gets thrown out there. It's sort of like it's like our version of bucks, right? And there's a bit of a bluff from Coach Beard in trying to hold face, and he tries to lie about who he is, so that way he doesn't reveal that they don't really belong there. He pulls it off. They end up playing pool, and the guys they pull off a nice little trick, no-look trick shot to win the first game, and then it goes on. You learn later that they won plenty. So little wager action at the pool table, which is nice because I feel like that's I feel like we always talk about easy places for shows and movies to insert some sort of gambling scene. Poker's obviously our go-to, right? Just sitting there playing cards. But I feel like pool is really close to that, right? It's really easy to get a couple people playing a recreational game of pool and put a little money on it, right?
Yeah, that is true. Almost every time that pool is referenced on TV or in a movie, there's a wager associated with it. You don't normally see people just playing pool casually in somebody's home every once in a while, but usually there's some money on the game. Yeah.
By the way, rocking my due for a win shirt here. Shout out to the guys that do for the win. Thank you.
No. Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm a little bitter. Well, you're probably even more bitter. They've won twice this season in the 33 pool.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't even pay attention anymore. I don't think I'm gonna even look anymore.
So Bogan with the theory that Apple's influence on the show might be why. I'm assuming this is in response to why gambling hasn't been brought up in Ted Lasso yet.
That's possible, sure.
Yeah, it is possible, which is interesting because I'm sure Apple is like a year away from launching their own sports book. So
yeah, no kidding, right? That's probably what I'm sure. One other thing in that episode as well, too, at the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, Coach Beard is sort of drowning his sorrows at the pub, and the three fans come up, soccer fans come up. And they're starting to chat with him, and they want to ask him some questions. He says, yeah, you can ask me anything as long as you don't talk about the game. They just had a big loss. And one of the guys asks, have you ever been to Vegas? And then there are a few more questions. And Beard responds, I've been to Vegas many times. 1 night is good. 2 nights is perfect. 3 is too many. And I mean, that's great. It's a great line. I kind of agree with that. The times that I've gone 3 nights, it's like, maybe I could have done without that last day trying to get on a plane or get in the car. It's a little rough.
I have gotten to I absolutely agree when you're talking about the recreational part of your trip, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
When there's other things for me to do, I've been to Vegas enough where it's really easy for me to separate the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we're in, hey, we're here to party and gamble. Yeah, 3 nights, you're like, hoofda.
Exactly. But I understand, like this last trip, you were G2E, the whole last part, and yeah, that's a whole different animal. So
there's a chance that when I go to Zorkfest, that I actually go out a few days early to do something similar. There's no conference or anything, but I might do some like work related stuff. And in my head, I've thought of it. First 3 days, head down, work stuff, and then once that's done, get down and start partying. By partying, I mean sitting at the craps table.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Ordering an IPA, maybe sitting doing some face up. Yep.
Yes. Mark, I can't wait.
I know. I apologize to all of our listeners because we just can't commit at this point. Dr. Mike, even this last episode, it was later than we intended, but he's had some more tests. It's just, he's exhausted. And anyway, we would love to get out there for Zorkfest. We'll see.
I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody in the community, though. Awesome to hear you guys putting out episodes again.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, I don't know when to expect them anymore. So it's like, a new episode.
Here it comes.
All right. Rick and Morty, Ted Lasso, onto the Guild. Now, this is one that I made note of months ago, and I had been holding it for an episode like this, and then when was preparing for this episode, I was like, wait, have I talked about this? It was so long ago that I made the note that I could remember. I was like, clearly I've spoken about this before.
Okay, yeah.
The Guild was a online sort of web series, maybe like a decade ago or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Put on by, of course, I'm not going to remember her name. Felicia Day is a creator of it, and it's a very nerdy nerdy show. It's about a group of World of Warcraft gamers that are a part of a guild, and they slowly start sort of meeting and interacting with each other in real life. And then it still holds the theme of nerddom and World of Warcraft and stuff. And I watched the whole thing. I rewatched it thinking, will I find a gambling reference in this? And I found 2, Mark.
Yep.
Found 2. Season 2, episodes 2 and season 2, episodes 9 and 10. And they're very short episodes. They're like 5 to 8 minutes long. Very short episodes. Right. The episodes are called Grouping Up and Socializing Sucks. Episode 9, the guys are hanging out, doing a little guys' night in while the women do their own thing. And
because the game is actually down. They've taken the game. It's like a 2-hour delay. The game is down while
they can't play World of Warcraft.
They can't play, right?
Yeah, which is normally what they would be doing.
Do they ever actually say World of Warcraft on the show?
Never.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So it's a multiplayer online role playing game, but they just call it the game. I think
I think they use a lot of the common, like they use the words paladin and barbarian and stuff that obviously Blizzard wouldn't have, right? But they don't actually say WoW or World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I think it is just called the game every time.
Yeah.
Blades goes to set up his console and a TV. It's not going to work because it's an old school TV and the console's not working. They learn it's a black and white TV. And finally, Blades pulls out a deck of cards and he's like, how about we macho up and play some poker? And the guys think it's a great idea. And they're like, what site should we log on to? And immediately run to their computers to play online poker. And Blades is like, no, like with the paper cards. Like, so I thought it was funny that, of course, gamers would immediately default to the online version. The final case made for playing online, Mark, was the interface is better, it's cleaner, and we don't have to look at each other. Those were that's the final case made.
I think a lot of gamers would go for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are good reasons.
Episode 10, this sort of that storyline sort of drags in and becomes sort of the B story for the entire episode.
Yeah, the episode, it's almost like watching a single episode, right? It just it just picks up where the previous one left off.
Right. Yeah. When you're watching it, it'll break and say episode 9, episode 10, whatever, because these were like 5 to 7 minute long web episodes.
Right.
But like when you watch it on Netflix and stuff, like one season's consolidated into one show or like one play, right? Blade starts listing possible the internet has become a problem. They can't get on it for some reason, and so they're forced to play analog poker.
Well, Blades has actually, so it turns out that Vork was actually stealing internet from his neighbor.
That's right.
And so Blades goes over to the neighbor, helps the neighbor encrypt the Wi-Fi, and so it forces suddenly they can't get on the internet. So this is Blades' idea of forcing them to actually play a live game with real cards.
And he starts listing possible games, and he's like, Texas Hold'em, 5-card stud, and Zabu immediately goes, stud, 5-card stud, because we're studs. He immediately drawn to the word stud.
Yeah.
And then they end up playing. Blades thought he could clean up, just being like sort of the ringer of this, and I always forget
Vork.
Vork uses, like, I don't know if the math was right, but it like uses some analytics to like decipher what hand Blades has and ends up beating him in a big pot. And
so Blades is real upset. I did the math, but you can't really tell what game they are playing at the end. It's not stud because they're holding 5 cards, so it seems more like it's draw.
Yeah, I assumed it was draw.
Yeah, and so Zork is saying, well, I knew you had to, get a 4 to make your straight, and I had 3 of the 4s, so you had a 1.8 chance of 8% chance of getting your straight. And I'm thinking, okay, it's pretty close, except I don't know how many cards everyone's seen anyway. I went to the trouble of trying to see, and it was close. So
okay, well, props to them for being close then on the map rather than just winging it,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that's the guild. If you heard it and you're like, holy smokes, that sounds super nerdy. It is super nerdy, but I will say, if you are that kind of nerd, you will absolutely enjoy this show.
I agree. Yeah. And Felicia Day is sort of the queen of the nerds. She works for Nerdist. She's been very popular with like Joss Whedon and the stuff that he's done. And if you really like that kind of thing, basically online gaming, that kind of thing. Again, this show is about a decade old. Since then, it was sort of a precursor to a couple other shows. One is Mystic Quest, which is on Apple TV Plus, and Dead Pixels, which is a British show.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, I think you'd really enjoy it. Dead Pixels is very funny, especially the first season.
Okay.
Yeah, so check those out as well.
Very good. Moving on to more nerddom in a way, Disenchantment, which was Matt Groening, right? Yeah, Matt Groening's
Groening, but yes.
Oh, is it pronounced Groening?
Yes. Oh
my God. You're the first person to correct me, and I'm pretty sure I've been saying it that way my entire life. Okay, Matt Groening of Simpsons, Futurama, Animation Everywhere fame. This is it's of a sort of fantasy like tale where there's princesses and elves and orcs and stuff like that. If you're a Matt Groening fan, you'll appreciate that it looks like a Matt Groening animation. But I think you kind of have to still be into that kind of subject matter to find it. Like, I was watching it and I was like, I'm entertained because I like this kind of stuff, but I don't think it's entertaining for someone who's not.
Yeah, I agree with you. So if you look at Simpsons, Futurama, Disenchantment, Simpsons, of course, a classic. Futurama is just an incredibly funny show. I mean, really, it is so easy to go back and watch some of these. It's hilarious. Disenchantment, not maybe as enjoyable and funny, although I think it's it's definitely closer to Futurama than it is to The Simpsons.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'd kind of half-heartedly recommend it, which I think is what you're doing too, just to kind of the general public. Yeah,
right. Futurama, by the way, for as popular and enjoyed as it is, I still think it's one of the more underrated animation shows that we've gotten in my lifetime.
Isn't that funny that it's still underrated?
Everybody,
yeah.
I haven't met one person who said that they like watched it and didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, great show.
Like, yeah, it's anyways, first episode, first episode, very top of the episode, the princess is in a card game. She calls an all in using her crown, which I thought was funny. That's how she called the all in, took the crown off her head, and then her opponent has 2 pair, and she claims to have 3 me's. She had 2 princess cards and herself, like that. Right. She's like, there's 3, and
she counts 1, 2, me.
Yeah. And then she clearly does it just to create a ruckus, because she throws down a beer, hops underneath the table, and helps start a brawl inside the tavern. So but yeah, little poker scene there at the top of that episode. Mark, I don't know if you saw, I can't remember if I mentioned this in our DMs, but I did tweet about it. Bounty just put out a commercial with a slight gambling reference into it.
Yeah.
Guy wins the lottery. They're watching the lottery, the lotto numbers being announced on the television. The guy gets excited, they've won, and he manages to both drop his lotto ticket and then also knock over his beverage at the same time. Because if there's one thing where when I've realized I've won the lot, the first thing I want to do is let go of the ticket, right? Of course, you just want to just throw it as far as you can away from you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bounty, I learned that the takeaway from this commercial, Mark, is that Bounty not only can pick up the mess quickly, but you actually have lightning reflexes that allow you to clean up the mess before the liquid can reach your lotto ticket. That's the real takeaway.
Yeah, it is true. And, before you even mentioned this commercial, we were watching TV and the commercial came on, and I turned to my wife and I said, why don't they just pick up the ticket? Why go for the bounty and try to, prevent the spill from getting to the ticket? Just pick up the ticket.
Yeah.
It's actually a series of ads that Bounty puts out with a similar kind of thing where something gets knocked over and it's about to ruin things. And even though logically they don't make much sense, I have a feeling they're pretty effective ads.
Sure.
They're kind of funny. And when the liquid is getting closer to whatever it's going to ruin, there's some suspense.
The part of the episode that, by the way, Jana? How do you think that's pronounced?
Jana.
Uh-huh. Do you know Jana? You say it like as if you...
Yeah, Jana has called into our show many times. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, hello, Jana. Yes, you did catch us live. The part of those commercials that actually kind of speak to me, the part of show me how this actually give me something useful, is when they're showing the piece of the paper towel up against the edge and how it's not laying. That's I'm like, yes, that's what I need to know. That's what I need to know. Because no one has time to do that big swoop. All we're trying to do is try to keep the liquid from spilling over the side of the counter, right? That's really what we're all trying to do at first. So.
Yeah, it's probably a very effective ad. Well, I would think so, because again, they continue to put out ads, very similar ads to that.
All right. So Mark, I told you this was going to be a quick episode.
Yeah, we're flying through it.
We're flying through it. We're getting to one that I think is probably going to have a little bit more discussion, though. Squid Game. Squid Game has not well, I'll say in a Tiger King-like fashion, quickly sort of became this show that everybody was talking about, or it seemed a lot of people were talking about. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those shows I had to watch just to know. Right out, It was one thing, let me watch 10, 15 minutes at least, so I kind of have an idea of what these people are talking about. And I started watching it, and I enjoyed the first episode, and like I normally do, I decided to cancel the rest of my plans for the next couple of days and just watch this show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. There's been a lot of chatter around the internet on the accuracy of subtitles, the accuracy of the dubbing, and I don't want to call it controversy, but conflict a little bit there on, could have that been better?
Yeah.
of course, for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's a game. It's based on a set of games that participants play, and it's very much like in a Hunger Games fashion. Losing is bad, and there's a big prize at the end. How far did you end up making it? I know you said you thought episode 4 was going to be your...
And that was it. So I've seen the first 4. There's 9, I believe, altogether.
Yes.
And I've seen the first 4. And yeah, this is a great example of a show that Netflix really did not promote.
Yeah.
This was a word of mouth success story. And it just shows how great content, and I think it's a good show.
Yep.
But you put out great content, it'll find its audience. And really, this was all just a word of mouth thing, and it was huge. And yeah, Tiger King is kind of a good comparison, although Tiger King certainly benefited from the very beginning of the pandemic.
Yes.
But quite a phenomenon. But yeah, I'm through episode 4, so still got a ways to go on those.
I started watching it, and one of the reasons why I committed to watching the whole thing quickly is it opens with the guy at the racetrack.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's going to be gambling in this show. Well, now it's a work thing. Oh, cancel my plans. I got to do this for the pod. It's for the content, right?
Yep.
I recorded, I think 5 episodes that have some sort of gambling reference or mention. By the way, quick aside on Tiger King. I actually think that I think Tiger King 2 is them being arrogant and unaware of why the first Tiger King was a success.
Okay. I have not seen the second one.
I have not seen the second one. I'm not going to watch the second one.
Okay.
What I mean is, to your point, everybody watched it because it was March 2020 and there wasn't shit else to do.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about this weird Tiger King show, and everybody was like, screw it. There's a pandemic going on. Distract me with this weird guy.
Yeah.
No one cares about Tiger King anymore.
Yeah.
It'll get watches from people, from I'm sure a number of people, but it's not going to have close to the amount of success that the first one did.
I'm sure you're right as far as the success goes, and I'll wait to judge it based on, well, when it comes out, I'll see what the critics have to say.
Well, I'm judging it now.
Right, good. I will not judge you for doing that.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Episode 1, we see him at the horse track. This is he ends up when I think did he do a exacta? Is that right?
Gosh, I'm trying to even remember now.
He gets an exacta, I believe.
Something,
He gets the 1 and 2 horse. I think he gets the exacta right, and I think his friend didn't believe him and it didn't bet. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting all this sort of money, and then he gets robbed on his way out of the building. And again, people, don't count your money in public places. Don't do any, if you get a lot of money in any situation, do your best to both protect. Now, he was being a nice guy, and then got jacked. A professional thief got him.
Yeah.
It's not like in California Split, where they're just counting money and being arrogant.
Well, still though, like you said, if California Split and Mississippi Grind and all those films have taught us anything, it's like you said, get to your car quickly. Certainly don't flash the money.
Yep.
Be aware of your surroundings.
Later we see him in a subway. I'm gonna try to, because I know a lot of people probably haven't seen this yet. I'm sure it's a show that people kind of have on their list of to
see.
It's
new enough show. Yeah, we can't spoil too much.
Yeah, so I will, even though we've decided to not be so conservative on spoilers, I will in this case. He ends up playing a little game with a guy in a subway. A very odd wager situation. They have two little pieces, little square pieces. One's on the ground, and the other one tries to slam it, like Pogs almost.
Kind of like Pog, yeah.
Yeah, and if it flips, if you get the one on the ground to flip, you win the wager. And if the main character won, he got 10,000 won. Mm-hmm. And if he lost, he got slapped in the face. Yeah. Let me tell you, Mark, if I was playing a game against someone who I didn't mind roughing up a little bit, and I knew I had a little bit of an edge, I might play that a few times to get a couple slaps in.
Okay, so you would play it if you were the slapper.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm playing. He stuck that out and played it for a while.
Yeah.
You slapped me twice. I'm done.
Yeah, he needed the money.
He did need the money. It's true. I mean, that's definitely the theme of the show.
Yep.
Man, these notes were not as comprehensive. Actually, that's it for. There's a couple other. Yep, there's a couple other sort of little nuances, but I won't get into this. Like I don't want to get too much into the plot of the show. Episode 2, they another character. There's casino goons that have come after him, which I thought was there's a side character who is away from the game, and he's like trying to strike a deal with some other criminals. And they reference the casino, and then they send the goons from the casino. And I was like, do casinos have goons? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Episode 6, there's a marble game. And it brings on an aspect of wagering. Some of the players end up playing a game where you hold a certain number of marbles in your hand, and then the other person like unknown to the other player, you hold an unknown number of marbles in your hand. The other player holds an unknown number of marbles that they're wagering, and then they guess odd or even on the number of marbles in your hand.
Okay.
And if they are incorrect, they give up the marbles they wagered. If they are correct, you have to cough up an amount equal to how much they wagered.
Okay.
So if I have 4 in my hand and I have wagering 2 and I guess even, then you owe me 2 marbles.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Little fun, little childhood
kids game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then another set of players end up playing an all or nothing game. One thing I really like about is all or nothing. That's a gambling reference, right? This is something I've been thinking about this for a while. Like we use it so casually in society that I was like, is there another aspect of life where all or nothing could have rooted from? And I don't think there is. I think it has to come from a gambling.
Yeah, I guess when the term is used in everyday life, it might mean a lot of different things. All or nothing, I kind of think of double or nothing. Certainly double or nothing is a gambling reference. And maybe all or nothing kind of came from that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But these are the things I think about, Mark.
Yep.
These are the things I think about. Going on to episode 7, there are some big wigs that are observers of the game. They bet money on this. Something that I thought Hunger Games would have gotten more into, we talked about Hunger Games a few months ago about how in a brief moment you can see the odds board, which I thought was a cool little touch. But then I was disappointed that they didn't actually talk about any of the people in the Capitol or anything actually wagering on the game or on the Hunger Games. But there's a similar dynamic here, and those people are wagering on the game, on the Squid Game. It's actually pretty. I appreciated the banter between these characters on who they're betting on and why one guy's pissed off at one of his characters and stuff like that. So there is a good scene in episode 7 that sort of has this. I think episode 7 might be the best episode of the series.
Okay.
A guy ends up there's a scene where a guy has to choose a penny, like a penny, like you would put, I don't know what else we call them pennies in like sports, where photographers will wear like a thing over their shirt to make it show like if they're at a sporting event. We call those pennies, but I don't know what they're actually called.
I got you. Kind of like a vest, just
it's like a tank top, right? Kind of like a tank top looking thing. Anyways, it has one guy chooses 7 and he ends up saying lucky number 7 as he's pulling it. I thought that was and then episode 9, calling back to these people that are like observing and wagering on the game. One guy makes the statement, you bet on horses, we bet on humans. Okay. Which I thought was so which was a nice little culmination of of the show. Now, you're probably like, it says Squid Games in the episode title, and I know that was a very brief look at it. But again, it's new enough, and I know people want to watch it. And to expand on some of those scenes would to give away a few things that are actually a bit suspenseful in the episodes that they're in. So,
one additional thing I'll say here is that there's this giant piggy bank that kind of gets filled up with money. And when the money is going in, it is slot machine sound effects. When you listen to it, it's that ding, 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 almost like coins being dropped. And I want to say, at least the first time I saw it, that it really was from a real slot. I'll have to go back and listen to it again.
Okay.
But it definitely has a slot machine sound to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That's I watched all 9 episodes and I did not pick up on that. But I do recommend Squid Game. I recommend that I recommend watching the first episode, and if you're intrigued, I think you'll enjoy the series.
Yeah, and just a warning that it is violent. So if you do have some trouble with violence, maybe it's not for you. So yeah, they make no qualms about that.
Yep. And I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. That's just over half an hour. I think that is among the fastest.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yep.
You were right.
Yep. The only question that I have about Squid Game, I know you haven't watched it yet, but you've seen enough of the games played that I think I can ask this. Philosophically, if you were to actually try to place a wager on this, and don't think about this perfectly, just whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Like what is the first type, like how would you try to handicap this at all? Like, I guess, like if you were if you without even talking about which games or anything, you have this big group of people. They have to play this random set of games. And maybe what some of the games are, maybe you're not, but like it's a survival type thing. Like, how would you handicap it? And oh, okay, you're already ready to answer.
Well, I was
going to give my thoughts on why you thought, give you a chance to think, but go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, when you said survival, it's in some ways it's similar to the game Survivor, the TV show. When they go through these physical challenges. And a lot of times the physical challenges favor the young. In some cases, it favors the men, if it's, strength related, that kind of thing. In other times, it favors people who are good at puzzles. So you could say the intelligence. I would say, based on what I've seen so far, them being even though they're children's games, it seems to have been more physical. At least the games I've seen have been a more physical thing. So I would, bet on the younger people for sure. Even though obviously in a TV show, I don't know who lives or dies. I'm not even going to say, any of the characters.
Yeah.
But it's a TV show, so you're rooting for certain people, and there's probably a good chance those people are going to survive. But if it were real life, well, first of all, I'd call the cops, and then I think I'll wager on the young people.
There's a literal Squid Game going on in my my backyard.
Yeah.
Can someone come look at this? So the same way that I thought about knowing that it is like a survival of the fittest in a way, right? He said there is some intelligence there, youth and strength clearly has a benefit. But it's almost like you want to find like the person who fits those, but isn't the most of all of those, right? Because they become a threat to everybody else, right? So like a lot, like in the Hunger Games, the District 1 and 2 people were clear front runners, which made them targets, right? Yeah. And so I thought about this as like who knows how much information you would get about any of these people before being able to place a wager, but like being able to assess who looks young, capable, and looks like they have a good head on their shoulders that is maybe less obvious than some other ones. So
if I can pull it back to Survivor, the TV show again too, there are a lot of comparisons there, because you could be the smartest, you could be the best at these physical challenges, but then it puts a target on your back, and it's ultimately a game of social interaction, and so you'll get voted off if people think that you're a threat, unless you just you're just a monster when it comes to the physical and the mental.
Yeah.
So, and again, I haven't seen all of Squid Game, But the contestants, they don't know what's coming next, and I don't know what's coming next, and so I don't know what twists and turns are going to be there. So it's certainly not a perfect handicapping.
The games are, I think, what makes this interesting, because I think they do a good job of being clever about how to survive the game, and that's what I'm enjoying about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, okay, good, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it for this episode. A quick one here. Mark and I will be back next month. We're probably going to record a little sooner, I think. So, Mark, if you're okay with this, that way we don't have to worry about the holiday stuff like that. Probably record something directly between, like, just shortly after Thanksgiving. That works. Okay. That's a month from now. That's exactly a month from now. Yeah. So we'll be back with a month where episodes Luck 3 and 4. I haven't seen them, and I'm assuming since the first 2 episodes filled up an episode, I'm assuming the second 2 will again.
I think so too. The more you think, yeah. Okay, let's do that. 3 and 4 for Luck. Sounds good. Yep.
And then following that, we'll probably hit another pair of movies. It's been a while since we've done some movies.
Okay, that's so. Good. Yeah.
Yep. Mark, thanks for hanging out with me, man. I'm looking forward to doing this again with you, and I hope we'll see you in Vegas next month for Zorkfest.
I hope so too. Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
Yep. Take care.